Hey everyone, and welcome to the Arnot Mall in Horseheads, New York. Today we will see the first New York mall that I ever visited. So, let's not waste any more time and let's get inside. Plans for a new mall for the area were first announced in December of 1965 by the Arnot Realty Corporation of Elmira, New York. Groundbreaking for the mall began on May 11, 1966, with a ceremony being held at 2:30 p.m. that day on the tract of land the mall was supposed to be constructed on. This new shopping hub would simply be known as the Mall Shopping Center. In total, the mall would cost about $4 million to build. On Thursday, November 16, 1967, the mall would officially open. Grand opening ceremonies would start at 9:15 a.m., with the ribbon cutting at 9:45. The modern new shopping center would offer over 30 inline tenants on opening day, including a J.C. Penney and an S.F. Izard's as anchors. Izard's would actually open several weeks before the grand opening. The new mall would also feature 319,000 square feet of retail space, parking for over 2,300 cars, and an enclosed concourse covering 40,000 square feet with fountains, trees, pools, a bridge, hanging planters, and benches to provide shoppers with a restful and attractive environment. Then, on December 22, 1967, the cinema on the mall opened. It was built and operated by the General Cinema Corporation. Sometime in the mid-70s, the mall would change its name to the Arnot Mall to give the mall a more specific identity. The mall took its name from its original developer, Arnot Realty. In late spring of 1978, Arnot Realty Corporation announced a plan for a major expansion that would increase the total size of the mall to over 1,000,000 square feet and increase employment to about 2,500 people. The plans called for a 640,000 square foot addition to the east end of the mall and would include 3 anchor stores. The expansion would also include JCPenney and Izard's, who would also expand their stores, and the current portion of the mall would be remodeled. The mall's expansion would cost an estimated $20 million. During the plans for expansion, Pyramid Companies of DeWitt, New York, was planning on constructing a mall off the Southern Tier Expressway just south of Arnot Mall. Obviously, this never happened. In August of 1978, Allentown, Pennsylvania-based Hess's department store announced plans to open at the Arnot Mall. They would occupy an anchor space to be built in the new expansion. Site work on Arnot Mall's expansion began in spring of 1979. On June 20th, 1980, Sears announced that it would open a new store at the Arnot Mall in the fall of 1981. As a result, Sears would close their downtown Elmira store that had been open since 1955. There will be 2 phases to the expansion construction. Phase 1 would consist of the food court, over 35 inline tenants, the construction of the 101,585 square foot Hess's, and an 84,100 square foot Bradley's department store, and the expansion of JCPenney and Izard's. Phase 2 would consist of about 20 inline tenants and the 134,000 square foot Sears. Phase 1 was completed by summer of 1980, and Phase 2 was completed in the fall of 1981. On Sunday, August 24, 1980, the Hess's department store opened. The store at the Arnot Mall will be Hess's 20th store and the second in New York State. The store officially opened Monday the next day with a 10 a.m. ribbon cutting ceremony. It's unclear when the rallies opened, but according to a newspaper article, they were scheduled to open in September of 1980. On October 11, 1981, Sears would open, and with that, both phases would be complete. The Arnot Mall would have a whole different look, and the expansion would triple the size of the original mall. Fountains, planters, and skylights would add some amazing aesthetic to the mall. A glass-enclosed elevator as well as glass escalators would give mall patrons access to the second-level food court, which at the time was named the Garden of Eden. In May of 1987, it was announced that Hoyt Cinemas Corporation was going to build a 10-movie screen complex on an expanded second story of the food court. The cinema will be built atop a ground floor parking garage that would be built on the side of the building. Groundbreaking for the 39,591 square foot theater was held on Tuesday, August 25, 1987. There was also a small renovation of the food court during this time. As a result of Hoyt's opening, Cinemas 1 and 2, operated by the General Cinemas Corporation, would close once Hoyt's Cinemas opened. On May 6, 1988, Hoyt's would open. In 1989, Rochester, New York-based McCurdy's department store acquired Izzard's department stores. This, in turn, made the store at the Arnot Mall become a McCurdy's. On Saturday, January 13, 1990, around 3:40 p.m., a fire broke out in the Endicott Johnson's shoe store near the center court. The blaze crawled up a wall and leaped into the space between the ceiling and the roof. It was above the sprinkler system, so it was tough for crews to put the fire out. 3 people, including 2 firefighters, suffered minor injuries. Most of the damage was around the center court. The mall started the cleanup process within days. The reconstruction of the mall took about 2 months until repairs were complete. In 1994, McCurdy's closed. However, in 1995, York, Pennsylvania-based Bon-Ton department stores would enter the Rochester, New York market in 3 former McCurdy's locations, plus a store here at the Arnot Mall. On November 1st, 1995, Bon-Ton held their grand opening celebration. In 1995, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania-based Kaufmann's department stores had absorbed the remains of Hess's. This, in turn, would make the Hess's convert to a Kaufmann's. In 1998, the mall would go under a renovation to remove the gigantic fountain in the center court and the brick flooring from the mall's last expansion. In early 2001, Bradley's closed the mall after the whole chain would go defunct as a result of Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The space would only sit vacant for 5 years. In 2006, it was followed by a Burlington coat factory. In 2003, Hoyt Cinemas would become a Regal Cinemas after Hoyt sold all of its U.S. chains to Regal Entertainment Group. In 2005, Federated Department Stores acquired the May department stores for $11 billion. In turn, this would make the Kaufmann's department store convert to a Macy's, which they did and opened in 2006. In August 2011, Jeff Gordon was spotted at the Arnot Mall after a race at Watkins Glen a few days before. I also found it interesting that employees of the mall had felt the 2011 Virginia earthquake that affected much of the northeastern United States. On January 7, 2016, it was announced that Macy's would close their store at the Arnot Mall, along with 36 other stores nationwide. They would close their doors in spring that same year. Shortly after Macy's closed, Bon-Ton actually announced they would be moving into the former Macy's because it was a bigger space. They would open in September of 2017. In November 2017, Arnot Mall celebrated its 50th year anniversary. At this time, mall officials announced that the Arnot Mall would see some changes. Those changes would include a more open-air shopping experience, more entertainment venues, and a major hotel. From the picture of the redevelopment, it looks like the former Izzard space have been demolished for the new area. Now, obviously this never happened, and most likely won't happen, but it was interesting to see they had ideas to reinvent the large empty space. I actually would have liked to see this happen because it would have offered more space for tenants, and it would have provided a hotel, which could have had interior mall access. On April 17th, 2018, Bon-Ton announced they would be closing all their stores. The store at the mall would close in the summer of that same year. In February 2020, it was announced that Sears would close their store at the mall. The store would close in May that same year. In late 2021, TK Storage opened the former Izzard's turned McCurdy's turned Bon-Ton space. Today, the Arnot Mall is just doing okay. Not good or bad, just in between. The mall is still owned by Arnot Realty, but is managed by Spinoza Real Estate Group, which does a nice job with mall management. Before the mall was managed by Spinoza, it was under the rule of Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust. The mall has slowly been gaining smaller tenants in the past years. Actually, the day this video was filmed, there was a new place opening in the food court, which is right over here. Now, this food court used to look much nicer than it does now. Actually, this space right here to the right was an Arby's at one point. We used to have a Burger King up here, which is where this bubble tea place is. That was the grand opening. When I filmed the video here, it was the grand opening of that bubble tea place. And the mall was fairly busy the day I was here, and when you saw the bounce house places down by Sears, they had a whole bunch of events for the kids that day. So the mall was a little bit busier than usual today. But overall, I really think that Arnot Mall has a future. I think Spinoza can get the mall back up on its feet. Well, that about wraps things up here. I want to thank everyone for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, I would like to ask you 3 things. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content just like this. I hope everyone has a good evening if you caught the premiere, and as always, I will see everyone in the next video.